Woo, y'all not gonna like this one today. But we will remain obedient. Have you become friends with the enemy? Have you become friends with the enemy? This is from a live I did earlier. We talked about how the Lord will bring you to the edge of the cliff and he's requiring you to jump. You can't go back because God has closed the door, but you won't move forward either because you're so locked in fear and all of these emotions. I need you to know that these emotions that you're having that's preventing you from taking the step has paralyzed you. You can become so overwhelmed with fear, with anxiety, with worry, with stress, with doubt, with anger, with sorrow, with confusion, that you don't move. You got to understand that's not of God, that's of the enemy. But have you allowed yourself to give way to that, to where it has become your prison, where it stopped you from being able to move? And you're telling yourself, well, at least I'm not where I was, but you're not where God wants you to be. Have you made friends with your enemy? Gosh. You see, there's this story where there were these two brothers, and with these two brothers, one of the brothers placed the other brother into a room where the door was a regular sized door, but he knew the brother's appetite, so he kept bringing him more and more food, knowing that the brother couldn't resist. So the brother just got fatter and fatter, and he couldn't leave the room because he was so fat. So he wasn't being compelled to stay there. The brother said he could leave anytime, but he knew he couldn't because of his appetite. So I'll place the story inside of the comments or in the description box. But it's such a good story because he wasn't locked away. He could leave anytime. But his appetite was his own prison. He could have lost weight. He could have walked through that door. But he allowed his appetite to rule over him. And here's the thing. The prison is not a prison where it has physical locks on it. But the devil doesn't need to do that, because the prison that he creates for you is the prison of your own emotions that paralyze you and keeps you locked into a place where you don't move. But see, sometimes we get so comfortable in that we stay there. Some God has allowed the enemy to have access to, in which you've seen things in your life be stripped, be stolen, be destroyed, be killed, be devoured. Satan's just lying to you, and you've gotten used to it. You've accepted it. You like, oh, okay, spiritual warfare, here we go. I already knew it was going to happen, and just get through it, get on the other side of it. Some have gotten to the point where you're like, okay, hardship, struggle, here's another thing that happened. Okay. You're so used to it. And you believe that that's what God wanted. He just wanted you to get used to it. No, that was a long time ago. You passed that level. But now you've accepted it. as a way of life. You're looking, Jonah, at the storms, at the winds, at all the things that come, the chaos, and now you're used to it. You've accepted it. You're like, okay, it's just another day. It's just another Tuesday. And what the Lord wants to be able to show you is, have you got comfortable with the enemy? Have you made friends with the enemy? Have you got so familiar with Satan and his wiles that you've just grown accustomed to it? It's almost as though you've gotten into this routine of, okay, this is what I do. This is what he does. This is what I do. And that's it. It doesn't spur you into action. The Lord is like, it's time to wake up. It's time to get up. You have allowed Satan to place you in this prison of paralysis in which you can't move and make progression in spiritual matters, in spiritual maturation, in spiritual growth and development, and moving in the spirit and the things that I have for you, and becoming in the spirit and what I desire you to be able to become. Your hunger and your drive for that, what happened to it? What happened to your thirst for me? What happened to your thirst to become by any means necessary? You just allow Satan to just beat you up. And now you're beaten. And you're using the fact that you've got scars, you've got wounds, you've got bruises. You're using that as an excuse to not do what it is that I've called you to do. And I'm trying to show you that I'm not requiring that part of you that's beat up. I'm requiring you to move beyond that part that's beat up. It's not requiring your heart. It's not requiring your flesh. It's not requiring your mind that's exhausted. It's not calling for your will and emotions that don't want to do what it is that I'm calling you to do. It requires your spirit. I know the flesh is weak, but the spirit is willing. Get up. You laid out like you've been knocked out for the count. And you're going through life this shell of a person. I did not create you to live as a zombie. You are a child of God. Get up and move in the spirit. I can't. It's too hard. Move anyways. Move anyways. Don't let it be by your power. Don't let it be by your might. Let it be by your spirit. Put the enemy on notice today. You no longer have access to my very soul. You no longer have access to my heart, to my body anymore, to afflict me, to oppress me. I'm kicking you out today. I'm rising up. And whether I feel it or not, I'm moving into what God has me to do. I'm taking the step that God desires me to take, whether I feel like I can or not. God is desiring to show you how to move by his spirit and not by your flesh. That's why he allowed it to get it so weak and so exhausted and so fatigued and so burnt out, so that you move anyways and experience movement by his spirit. Do what God is calling you to do. Step out of Satan's prison and move into the Lord's kingdom.